to advise any students coming out of college who are going to go into a classroom, I would first say thank you, and then just offer them this guidance to always trust that the process, even when it doesn't look like it's going to work, the process will work. You just have to engage in what it is you are committing to do. And don't be afraid to reach out for the support that you need, because I think that so many of our young educators fall by the wayside because they don't get the support that they need or that they want or that they feel they deserve, and they do. They don't know what to ask for, and they don't know how to ask for certain things because this is brand spanking new for them. So I would encourage that new college graduate to find a school that you are just the right fit for. Build relationships with your team, with your administrators, and rely on those people to help you get through those pivotal points that can become discouraging because you are kind of unsure of what the next thing needs to be. But just to hang in there and trust that the process works if you really engage in and with that process.
And just to add to what Dr. Taylor said, I definitely commend any new teacher for following your passion and coming into a wonderful profession, and we welcome all educators. The advice that I would give, or the guidance, would definitely be to make sure that you're not afraid to speak up, and make sure that you're not afraid for your voice to be heard. A lot of times it's really easy to sit in meetings or sit with veteran teachers or educators and feel like they've been doing this forever. They have all of the answers. And a lot of times we do have a lot of the answers, but what we don't have are that fresh set of eyes or that new innovation. And a lot of new teachers have so many new things to offer that we're not even familiar with, but sometimes they are afraid to speak up because they feel like, oh, well, I haven't been doing this long enough, or they don't feel validated. So don't be afraid to speak up. Share your ideas. We need them. We have been doing things for a very long time in education, and we know a lot of the nuances, but your ideas may be something that could solve new problems that we're experiencing, or even old problems. So your voice is just as valuable as anyone else's that's been there for a long time. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and ideas.
I think that's so powerful because you can bring that new energy that might be just what the school needs to get to that next level.
Great Saturday, everyone. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning. How are you, Sheikah? Hi, everybody.
Doing well. Welcome to the REALL Academy. I am Dr. Sheikah Houston, and my trustmate in education, Dr. Tammy Taylor, and we bring you the REALL Academy from Create and Educate every Saturday at 10:30. I know that Principal Hurt has had to cancel for this Saturday and another Saturday. I believe his children are in tournaments, so we wish them the best of luck during these tournaments. I know that these can be stressful times when you're having to travel around with your children and they're competing in competitive sports. So we wish them the best.
Busy time.
Definitely. Shout out to our district, Mr. Sumter and the Teachers of the Year, and Lisa Brett. Great job on convocation. We had a phenomenal speaker, Miss Linda Wayman from Philadelphia. Her and Miss Johnson really inspired us all. It was phenomenal.
It was absolutely outstanding. Best ever. And we had just a powerful surge of synergy to get us started with going into a new year with the energy that we're going to need to get through it. And her message was right on time, totally lined up with what Mr. Sumter had chosen as the theme for the year. So kudos to you all at the Chester County School District. And shout out to Brooke Raven,
Yes.
my very own first grade teacher. You guys did an outstanding job of getting convocation together this year.
Most definitely. I felt like it was one of the best that we had. And also shout out to the great leaders of Gaston County Schools. We were able to spend some time with them on yesterday, um, getting them ready for and energized for upcoming school year. And based on the feedback we received, everyone was very inspired and ready to go into a new year surged and on fire. So shout out to those great educators. It was so great working with you all and meeting you. And we hope that you all have an awesome year this year.
Definitely. That was an incredible experience as well.
It
Um,
was.
Packed house, room filled with Gaston County's finest. And as Sheikah said, we salute you guys
Yes.
and pray that the light continues to shine on you all as you enter into your new school year and that it will be your best year yet.
Most definitely. If this is your first time tuning into the Real Academy, Dr. Tammy Taylor and I are known as the Leadership Doctors. We work with schools, with leaders and leadership teams um, on leadership primarily through leadership coaching, helping you shift your culture, and also making sure that you're able to improve your school using our real framework that you see at the top of the screen that Tammy's going to tell you a little bit more about.
Yes, and this is what we used yesterday with the Gaston administrators. We took them through our school improvement framework because we have several that we worked to create when we were in state sanctioned improvement. And so that framework outlines itself for the work, as Shika said, that we do. And in our framework, the R stands for respect, which is that door that you have to enter into to get to the other tiles. And our E is for excellence, the A is for accountability, and the first L is for literacy. And that final L is for leadership because we know that that has to be what's provided at a school in order for you to maximize the experience for the students and the staff.
Most definitely. Tammy and I developed this framework after we improved our schools. My middle school, 2 report card grade levels in 1 year. Tammy's elementary school, 3 report card grade levels in 1 year. And her school was also featured in a case study by NWEA because of the amount of growth that they experienced. But this framework will help other leaders replicate the school improvement work that we did in our areas. It is grounded in school improvement research based practices, and every one of those correlates that were found in schools that were 90% proficient, 90% poverty, and also 90% minority had these things in common that we've included in our framework. The framework is unique because not only do we use it for leaders, but we also can use it for to help to get your teachers aligned, and it even transcends down to the students. So it creates that synergy that you need to have every stakeholder in the building aligned to the work and even parents. So if you are wondering, well, why else should we listen to you all? We have between us about 43 years. I think I added it up the other day, Tammy. I don't think we're ever going to say 50. That just makes it sound too old. 43 years of experience between the two of us. We have served in multiple capacities: teacher, all levels of administration up to district level. So today we are going to finish part 2 of what we started last week, which we are hoping to get you started off on a great year with classroom management. So I'm going to share the screen here and get into our slides here. And I can't see, the only thing I can see is the slides, Tammy. So classroom management for leaders and teachers, we went over this last week, so we're not going to go back through it. We're just going to pick up where we left off. So establishing yourself as a leader, we talked about that last week, creating a welcoming environment. Building those relationships with students is so important. Setting those clear expectations and procedures is a must. And creating that engaging classroom is going to definitely be your ticket to classroom management. We left off on instituting that growth mindset. And as Tammy and I talked to the leaders just the other day in Gaston, we talked about this growth mindset has to exist. We can't go into teaching or anything with children or adults having them think that you are only a certain way if, everyone has room for growth. And sometimes we leave out our top students thinking that, oh, well, they're already proficient. They don't need to grow anymore. And I used to have a teacher when I was at the building level, ELA teacher, Miss Taylor, phenomenal. She would grow our top GT students 3 grade levels. And that is because she used her data and made sure she was exposing students to new material so they could actually grow. But making sure that you're instituting that growth mindset into students is essential for your school to move anywhere.
Definitely. And one thing I think as leaders we have to really pay attention to is cultivating that mindset within the culture of the school, because it doesn't need to be this hope that we're going to do well, because that's one of the things that I learned when we were in improvement. Hope is not a strategy. You have to have high expectations. And so making sure that the staff recognizes that they model that growth mindset, and when the students see that they believe that things can be a certain way, then that gets to be contagious. And the kids start to also share in that mindset that, we can continue to learn and we can continue to grow, versus being fixed in your thinking and this is how it's been and this is how it's going to be. And these are the kids that we have. And there's no other answer, no other solution, there's no other way. We focus our attention on the difference that we can make in having that growth mindset.
And I used to even share on my town hall meetings examples of schools that had grown or students that had grown, just to drive that point home. Hey, if they can do it, we can do it too. And that would give them a lot of the inspiration that they needed. The next thing that we need to make sure we incorporate are brain breaks. And this fits into making sure we're appealing to the social and emotional learning needs of students. You can't, assume that students can go, and especially at the secondary level where we may have 90 or, that block scheduling for students, that they can just continue to consume information for that entire period of time. Even as an adult learner, I am not the same type of learner that I was when I was in school. Our attention spans are a lot different now. So instituting those brain breaks are essential, and it also if you use things like would you rather, and I have embedded in here for the teachers that I presented this for, this is by subject. Would you rather for ELA, for math, science, and social studies? So it gives you that opportunity to get to know your students, to build some relationships, to have a little bit of fun, have that humor instituted in the class, but it also is giving everyone that brain break that is needed.
And when you are working with younger children, especially, you have to be very mindful of the fact that their attention spans only usually stretch as far as their age goes. Like, I mean, if you're a 5-year old, every 5 minutes, you need to be kind of shifting gears to something or giving them at least a minute to turn and talk to a neighbor or something just to get the brain refocused on paying attention because you lose them. And that's one of the things that I put in the handbook, like where we have brain breaks and we want to give the kids that moment to recenter. Just kind of a guide for if you're teaching pre-K, think about shifting gears every 5, 6 minutes. Same with K through 5. You have to give them the opportunity to take a brain break. And sometimes I know teachers think, oh, we don't even have enough time to do what we have to get done. And I applaud my teachers because I see them using activities, as she could said, like a would you rather in science, because as you are offering them a brain break, they're still at that space where they're able to work on content. Or my kids, I've seen the teacher actually have them to do jumping jacks while they're counting. So a brain break is essential, but a brain break can also be a break in the monotony of learning, but the learning can continue.
And this is not just for teachers. This is for our leaders as well. When we're having
Definitely.
PD, we have to keep in mind that people need brain breaks. We can't just stand up in front of people and talk for hours at a time. So it's really something that we all can utilize.
We can, but I can assure you they're not
Well, I hope so.
listening.
Okay, and then this is just a profile of Gen Z and Gen Alpha students where, a part of our work that we do with schools, and we're going to show you where we're actually going to be presenting up at Central Michigan University next week or a week after, I think, about this type of work where a lot of the industries, like the gaming industries and the entertainment industry, they actually study the generations to know their habits, their patterns. And this is the type of thing that we need to do in order to make sure that we know how to engage and to teach and to maintain the attention of Gen Z and Gen Alpha students. So Tammy's just going to share um, a fact or two about each generation, and I'm going to pull up classroom screen for us while you're doing that.
Yeah. So just as we think about the way that the various industries really, really pay attention to what their clientele needs, we really have to think how we are failing our kids in education because we aren't taking the time to study them. Now we are, and we're studying them because we realize that things are going to have to be done differently to engage these kids, because like our Gen Alpha students are kids who spend about 6 hours a day on some kind of device. Use screen time is about 6 hours a day. It's no way they're going to stay with you for 6 hours at school and just listen to you talk to them all day. We're going to have to engage them differently. So when we are thinking about our students, we're going to have to even start planning differently for preparing them for their futures, because it says in research that when Gen Zers but over their lifetime, they're going to have 16 different jobs.
Right.
We're going to have to do something to ensure that we are preparing these kids for the futures that they're going to be facing. So, by paying attention to the generations and studying what it is they like and what it is they enjoy doing, what they feel is the best way for them to learn is very important. And as leaders, guys, we have to really think about how we are supervising our different generations, because we many of us are of a different generation than most of our staff. So
Right.
you have to be careful to know how do your staff members learn best, and try to tailor some of the work that you do, as Shika said before, to the audience that you're serving.
Most definitely. And the last thing, if any of this was helpful for you, just drop some comments in the uh, emojis in the comments. Let us know. And also, if you need the leadership doctors for principal coaching or PD in your school or district, just visit our website, fill out the form, and let us know. We are starting to fill up our calendars with different events and engagements. So we definitely want to make sure you are included if you would like this type of work, or us coaching you as a principal leader at your school. So I'm going to remove this. The last thing before we run out of time that I would like to share as a classroom management tool, and this is one of our affiliates as well, is Classroom Screen. This is a phenomenal management tool. It has so many things that you can actually put this up on your Promethean board. You can create polls. There's a randomizer where you can add the students' names and you can randomly put them into groups. You can put up QR codes. There's even a sound, a noise modifier here, just to let the class know if they're making too much noise to monitor themselves. You can add text if you need to write something up there. Um, there are work symbols to let students know what they need to be doing. If it's silent time, to whisper, ask a neighbor, work together. Traffic light here that can be utilized if you're playing any type of game. Let me delete this one. And there's also a timer, a clock, and then when you click more widgets, it actually moves up. So you can link in videos here, like from YouTube. You can have an event countdown if you want to make something like gamerize something in your class. I love the die that you can use for like any types of games or anything. There's a webcam, a stopwatch, group maker, so many things that you can do with Classroom Screen. It is a great digital management tool for the classroom. So if you're not familiar with Classroom Screen, again, they're one of our affiliates. They, I think we have their icon on our website as well. But teachers love it. The students love it. Just a great way for you to, another tool for management.
For sure. And I tell you what, as leaders, when you are doing PD with your own staff, it's a great tool for having everything in one space. So it's a great marker for you that you can go back to this screen to grab your video, or you can go to this widget and grab the die so you can roll it. And
Right.
or the randomizer is really a neat thing for making sure that everybody gets a turn.
Most definitely. I love using it as well as, something to model when I'm doing PD as well. So hopefully these are some things that you can use if you're a leader, something you can pass on to your teaching staff so that you all can have a great start to your year. Please tune in next to Principal Kafele, and we did pre-record. That's why we're not putting up any of the messages this morning. I have another trip in the morning that I have to go to, but we will be back with you next Saturday, same place, 10:30, and tune in to Principal Kafele next. Josh, Dean, and Chris on Sunday on Unlock the Middle. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Enjoy your Saturday. And happy back to school for everybody who's going back next week.